I'm Dr. Ryan DeBell from The Movement Fix. This is Movement Fix Monday. We're in Nashville, Tennessee at CrossFit B&A. I'm here with Dr. Mario Novo, and what we're going to talk about is blood flow restriction.
Got it.
Why you would use it, kind of how you would use it, maybe some things that we're thinking about that haven't been done or released yet. Mario studies muscle physiology, muscle hypertrophy, and blood flow restriction or occlusion training. So what we're going to do is this. He is going to take me through kind of a protocol and talk a little bit about it.
Yep.
And then maybe we'll bring some stuff together at the end, and we will give you a resource that you can look into if you want to know more about this type of thing. So, tell me about it.
All right, so blood flow restriction training. In simple terms, it's basically having an ability to stop venous flow out or blood flow out away from a working muscle. When you do this to a muscle, it's going to basically expose the amount of time that that muscle is underneath something called lactic acid. And that's basically, if we think of it like a muscle juice, right? A soup basically that is going to help to activate certain fast twitch muscle fibers are the ones that actually are going to promote growth, are going to promote power. And in the same process, it's also going to build muscle size. So the big difference that using BFR, which is a tool, over using heavy weight training is the amount of weight you can lift. So we're going to be lifting some low weight today, right? This is probably anywhere between Ryan's maybe 20 to 25 rep max. But while underneath occlusion, it's probably going to feel closer to like your 80% rep max.
Got it.
Got it?
So one of the reasons to use it is so that you can stimulate the hypertrophy without the load through the joint.
Correct.
Right? So like
right.
on recovery days, rest days,
right.
or days where if you're trying to run half marathons like Urson, and you want to do strength training, but you don't want that, the loading of the joint, you can get that stimulus, yeah?
Yeah, think about it, it's potential for recovery, it's potential for accelerating, right, one's overall training program. It's there, this is what we're basically seeing within the research. So.
All right, cool, let's do this.
Gotcha,
so we need cuffs, right? Now, where can people get these cuffs? Because I don't know if everyone's going to have this.
All right, so these cuffs right now are being distributed through the occlusion cuff, right? You can find these. I'm going to have a link about maybe a couple days or so. I'll do this try to fast on my website where you can pick them up. For now, you can pick them up on the occlusioncuff.com is where you can get them, okay? But there will be a link in the description that somebody can pick these up.
Great.
So these have been measured out for you. I'm going to start you off up here.
We're going to slip this on, pre-measured.
Yep. All right, so when the cuff is in position, I'm going to ask you to raise your arm up. So this basically falls underneath the category of what we call pneumatic BFR. So I'm using an actual blood pressure cuff for this. I'm going to pump him up to a certain percentage, and all the specifics on percentage-wise and what's the safe zone, what's the training zone are going to be listed in basically some further information.
Okay.
So we're going to bring the arm down. Now the cuff is nice and steady. It's going to get you up to about 110 millimeters of mercury. That's the first starting training zone. Any numbness, any tingling?
Nope.
No, should just feel tight.
I feel my pulse.
Yes. We can check for radial pulse. Radial pulse is present, so we're good to go, man. You can put this in your pocket. I'm going to get you set up for the other arm. All right.
Yeah, because I was just using like straps or bands before.
Yeah, so
And there's some advantages using a cuff, right?
Correct, right. So when we use bands, we are basically using an arbitrary kind of feel, right? You're using a compression scale of about 1 to 10, where 10 would indicate max occlusion, right? And 7 to 8 would be a training zone. The difference with that is it's arbitrary, right? And when you're coaching somebody for it and you're maybe applying BFR to somebody, again, it's subjective. That can change. So the difference between using a pneumatic value is that I'm going to basically set this, bring the arm down, based off of research values. If that's too much to start with, I can bring it down by 10.
We're good.
Because the starting zone is 100, so I brought you to 110. Okay. So we can come down 10 if we need to. Go ahead, that's going to be in your pocket.
Let's bring it down just a little bit.
Yeah.
On the left.
On the left?
Yep.
Okay.
My pinky's tingling.
Yep, that's what we want to be cautious with. So there are other forms of pneumatic BFR that use a built-in dynamic system, right? And those are going to come through a little bit more pricey on the end of it because it's a computer-controlled device, but
many thousands of dollars. Right?
Many thousands of dollars, right? So we've got some weights set up for you here.
Okay.
Dude, let's get some biceps curls in here. All right, so typical protocol that we're going to use is going to be based off of a 4-set period. So the first set is going to be 30 repetitions. You're performing this with a tempo. If that's too much, we'll go down, man.
We might need to go down. We'll see.
All right. Let's see if we can.
It's already so hard.
Is it really?
No, I can do it.
I'm gonna grab some 10s, man.
I'm gonna fast forward.
I told you, man.
I'm gonna fast forward this part. Tempo.
Yeah. So tempo that we're gonna be working on is basically gonna be 1 second up and about 1 to 2 seconds down. Okay. So we're really trying to focus a lot on the concentric portion because we're trying to activate those fast twitch muscle fibers, right? The ones that respond to quick contraction.
Now, although I'm doing bicep curls, and let's be honest, I just made a bicep curl video with Chris.
Sure.
People are back, why the hell is Ryan making so many bicep curl videos? This is more than just the biceps.
Correct.
That's happening, right? Because everything below the cuff is going to get basically metabolic stress stimulus.
Correct.
Which we're thinking grip strength, we're thinking recovery of muscle from the growth factors.
On an
it's
anecdote,
not just bicep curls to get big biceps.
Correct, right, yeah. And on an anecdotal level, I'll tell you that,
Oh my gosh.
All right, you get to 30.
Perceived exertion is very high.
Yes, it is.
Can we call that 30?
Call it 30.
Oh.
Okay, hold for a moment. All right, so now that he's completed his first 30 reps, we've got a 30-second break. If you can tolerate it.
I can tolerate it.
All right, what usually helps with this is if you're near a rack and you set your arms up, bringing the arms slightly just above the heart. Well, you got to be leaning on something. So like say, for example, if you're holding on to something, notice how that stimulus goes away completely.
That feels way better.
Yeah,
actually.
it does. Kind of just anchors you down.
That's very surprising how much better that is.
Yeah.
You're not doing that to me, Mario.
Yeah. Right. So at about 30 seconds, we're ready to continue. We're going to drop the weight in this case, all right? So we're going to go to 10s.
Yeah. Drop set.
So the next 3 sets are basically going to be 15 reps, okay?
Same pacing?
Same exact tempo as what we're using.
So one of the things that I thought was interesting that you mentioned was that yesterday when we were deadlifting,
right,
you said, my grip felt like the strongest it's felt in a long time.
Yeah.
And it was because you're doing this occlusion training for the last couple weeks, right?
Yeah, so my occlusion training has basically been focusing on just bicep and a tricep. Simple as this. What I've been doing is basically clocking in my 10 repetition max, figuring out my estimated 1 rep max, because it's just a bicep curl, right? There's no real set estimates for it. And coming down to my 35% 1 RM. And what I've noticed anecdotally is already in the last 3 weeks, weight has been able to go up and my grip strength has gone up because, again, you're not only exposing the bicep to work, that whole entire forearm is having a grip. Yep. Equally, you're going to start to feel it in the delts. You're also going to start to feel it up in the traps. Yep.
Now, one of the other things that's important to note is that to get muscle growth, you can either have actual damage of the muscle,
correct,
right?
that's
or
one
you can
method.
have metabolic stress.
Correct.
So by doing this, you get the metabolic stress without the actual micro damage to the muscle,
right?
Which has huge implications. And I think we want to make sure that's not missed on people why we're doing this, because you get the metabolic stress without the breakdown. That's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Right?
So if you're thinking about on a recovery day,
can I do this?
Yes, you can rest. So if you're thinking about on a recovery day, right? So what's also been seen with blood flow restriction is that a lot of the muscle building pathways, to make things simple, things like testosterone and growth hormone, they increase exponentially. And a lot of the muscle breaking pathways, right? These are things like, let's just say things that are catabolic in nature, they actually shut off with blood flow restriction. So an off day can look like an actual super compensated day where you're basically gonna almost do some biohacking, right? You're gonna have your body excrete as much as it can of all of its natural growth hormone, all of its building complex, and there's no additional hit to overall recovery.
And you made a point yesterday too, when
you want to go for your next one?
Yeah, when you clear out the exudates, it'll cross over the rest of the stuff above where the cuff is. So you'll get some upstream effect too.
Yeah.
So just because, now I don't have to be doing bicep curls to do this, right? I could be doing anything.
You can be, yeah. Could be push-ups, it could be something functional,
people are
right?
Doing biking and
ring dips.
All that stuff, right?
So there's some other neat things about BFR.
This just makes a video cooler.
Right,
so
you can get big guns with this, man.
This makes my left bicep really hurt. Is that normal?
So the pressure is beginning to increase each round. So this is where a little bit of some auto-regulation comes in.
Yeah.
So what you may need to do is you may need to come down on pressure.
Like self-regulation.
Yes. So if you want, drop the weights now. We're going to drop some of the pressure.
We need to do that.
You should have an immediate relief.
Okay.
And mind you, this is kind of what you've got to work with when you're using a manual system. So you got to release the crimp.
So the one that's several $1,000s would do that automatically?
Do it automatically, yeah.
Because as the muscle engorges,
correct,
it increases the pressure.
Right. So the muscle is actually literally engorging in size because it's filling up with blood. It's filling up with water.
Did you lower it?
Yeah. You want more?
Yeah, a little bit. That is metabolic pain. That is, let's do this one. That is metabolic pain right there.
Yes, it is. So, but mind you though, although Ryan is experiencing all this, he's operating at 10 pounds. So the mechanical damage is just not there.
Way less than my 1
rep. Is that better?
Back let's go a little bit more.
A little less?
Do I have one more set? It's 4 total?
Yeah.
All right, let's
you
pump
actually
this
have 2 more. Is that good on this side?
Yeah. Let's do this. Oh, jeez.
Yeah, look at that, man.
This is really painful.
Yep. How are you doing with this arm?
I'm good. Oh, okay.
Yep, you got it.
Don't hit the strap.
So what we were talking about in terms of being on a bike or being on a treadmill, now mind you, we can come down to a much more comfortable setting with this. We brought it up about 10 millimeters to start with. So each set that we do, he's gonna have to auto-regulate or mention to his coach, like me, right? Hey, I think I need a little bit less. I can monitor where he's at, so I know that he's still within a good training zone. So it's not an arbitrary number. That's the difference, again, between using this versus just using an estimated number. Now, BFR also increases something known as VO2 max. What that means is endurance. How better can your body deliver oxygen, and how better can your muscles use that oxygen? So a lot of the studies initially started off with BFR, looked at people basically walking on a treadmill, right? Riding a bike, and seeing changes in their VO2 max that they wouldn't see unless they were operating at 80% of their max. So there's a big benefit that you can get also on a recovery day using this. All right, so think about running. You want to stay active. Maybe you have that runner's high, right? Well, you can just walk on a treadmill or get on a bike, get on an Aerodyne bike. You can still get some of that experience in there and see some benefit with it.
Now, what we have to make sure too is if people are going to watch this video and then try this, like, you don't just strap something on super hard and just go to town, right?
Yeah.
We have to make very explicitly clear that monitor how it feels.
Correct.
Make smart choices.
Yeah.
Listen, things should not be tingling.
No.
Right?
No.
If something's tingling, take it down.
You got to take it down. Yeah.
Or take it off if it's really tingling.
Yeah.
Is this my last set?
Yeah, this last set. And that's pretty much it. You know, when you're talking about safety concerns, Ryan just outlined them right there. So, if you're an individual though who has hypertension, right, because there are some caveats to it, right?
Some big contraindications.
Yeah, there are. Yeah, and those should just be obvious in terms. Usually, those contraindications are ones that would be contraindications to exercise in general without getting any sort of clearance from your medical provider. So, if you're in the clear and you're able to exercise, BFR is an option for you.
Oh my gosh! All right, let's just call that 15.
All right, so you got it. Yeah, that's it. So we're done.
Yeah, I need to undo this.
Hit the crimper first.
This thing?
Yeah, just release it.
How do I hit this?
It's gonna feel like 1,000 pounds. Watch, try to undo it yourself. I'll do it for you. Release the valve, counterclockwise.
So now essentially all that buildup is flushing back in.
Correct.
And that has growth hormones.
Well,
not growth hormone.
Not yet.
That comes later, right? We talked about that earlier.
Yeah, yeah. So that's going to come later on.
So let's talk about the growth hormone thing.
Right.
So after you do something like this, you could have, what did you say earlier, 300% increase in growth hormone in the blood. 300% increase.
Yeah, for an extended period of time, anywhere up to about 24 hours.
Maybe up to about 24 hours. Now, people also do this on their legs. It's obviously not just around the arms.
Correct.
But this is a good example of what it actually looks like. Now, you put out an ebook.
That's correct.
Just on this.
Yeah, so if you go check out my website, liftersclinic.com, what you're going to find is there's going to be just sign up to my newsletter, right? And as soon as you subscribe to it, you're going to be given a download link that you can go ahead and download the free ebook. And the ebook is basically going to cover the science behind BFR, right? How to apply BFR, the different types that you can apply it, safety concerns, of course, and that's going to basically get you squared away and get started with it. There's also some resources in there if you want to look further into some of the research yourself. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Woo! Well, that was awesome. So I'll put the link, you guys, to the ebook and to his site in the description of the video, both either on YouTube or in the blog post. It'll be in there. So make sure to check that out. And thanks for watching this week. That's what I got for you guys for this week on Movement Fix Monday. If you don't already follow me on Instagram, make sure to find us at The Movement Fix, as well as on Facebook at facebook.com/The Movement Fix. And what's your Instagram?
Instagram is going to be Lifters Clinic. You can find me there at Lifters Clinic.
Make sure to check that out. I'll see you guys next week.